Welcome to the Jen Cares Powered by Chosen Live podcast, a podcast that brings the community to you. Each week, we feature a guest that will help us stay in the know. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening, chosen friends, and thank you so much for joining us. I am Jen Cares. For joining us, Jennifer. Welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I am Jen Cares, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. First and foremost, as always, I want to just say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for sharing, for coming back. I do truly appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you get something when you do come, that your stopping by Jen Cares is not in vain. Last week, we had a snafu, not a snafu. Life happens. We didn't have a guest, but I got to share about writing a book in that process. And I was sharing with our guest tonight. If I'm honest, gotta be honest, friends, I got a little discouraged, okay? Because then the next guest wasn't available. And I said, Jesus, we just talked about go and grow, no apology. So if it was time for me to end Jen Cares, I would have to go and not apologize because obviously it was time, in my head. I was just trying to process what was going on, okay? This is what I was thinking. And I was like, God, 2 people canceled in a row? That ain't never happened, Never say never because anything is possible, one, right? But in that moment, I was like, what are you trying to tell me, huh? Because in those situations, it's for us to learn something. And in that moment, I said, what are you trying to tell me, God? Like 2 people canceled back to back. Never happened. Something new. Should I stop? Should I keep going? And I heard, I was reminded of our guest tonight. She had shared, I'm an author too, when I posted, the series. And I was reminded of her instantly. And I was like, that's what you want to tell me. Things may not always go how you want them to go. But if God wants it to go forth, guess what? He sends something else. He sends somebody else to fill that void or to fill that spot that's needed. And I'm so truly grateful because there's some things going on in life. And sometimes it does not go how Jennifer wants it to go. But guess what? How it should go is how it does go. And it works out in the end. So I am so grateful to have our guest on tonight. And then it's amazing because it is right in the vein of what I wanted to talk about. Who do that but God? She wrote a book about producing purpose. And the session was supposed to be talking about accidentally born on purpose. Guess what, friends? We were born for a purpose. And we are producing purpose. And I don't know all the story, but she's going to tell us tonight. So buckle your seatbelts, friends. I always have my notepad and my pen because I want to take notes and things because I want to retain the knowledge that is given. So friends, thank you again for joining us. Tonight we have Tasha Hands, and our subject or our episode and theme for tonight is producing purpose. So y'all put y'all hands together in the virtual land for Tasha. Good evening. How you doing, girl?
Good evening, Jen. I am doing great. It is an honor to be on your podcast. Such a bright, shining light out here in the virtual world. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we out here trying to do some things. We're trying to do some things. So, over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, never underestimate your own strength. You were born for a purpose and are blessed with the power to achieve it. Leon Brown. Again, never underestimate your own strength. Never underestimate your own strength. Talking to myself. I'm sorry, friends. No apologies. I'm not sorry. All right. You were born for a purpose and are blessed with the power to achieve it. What are your thoughts on that quote?
Wow. I mean, come on. Never underestimate your own strength. You were born with a purpose. You were born with a purpose. You know what? It speaks to me because I constantly underestimate my own strength, even in writing a book. We that thing called doubt comes in our mind.
Yes.
That thing called fear comes in our mind, and we don't think we're capable of doing it, and then we compare ourselves to others. But the quote was perfect, because even in underestimating my strength, God gave me the strength to push and do it.
Yes.
So I like it. I love it. As a matter of fact, I think I want to put it on my wall.
You know what? I'm gonna put it on the wall too, because it's the little things sometimes, that motivation and affirmation that you need to let you know, wait, you here for a reason. Somebody is being blessed and impacted in major ways by you just doing what you do. I sent some text messages to some people, right? And every so often it continues to grow. I feel like it's like 20 people. I ain't gonna lie. 20 people I send a message to in the morning to just encourage them. They're on my mind. I want them to have a good day. And it just become a habit. And some of them like, wait, you ain't send me my message. What's going on, sunshine? But one of the young ladies reached out to me today, and she was like, I woke up and I saw your message, and it just encouraged me to see God before I got myself in a tizzy. Never underestimate your own strength, right? Because that one message went to her and just encouraged her to know, like, look, I can make it. And there's so many others, that send me back a message like, oh, that was right on time. And then the blessing is sometimes they send me one before I get to send mine, and it's encouraging me. But never underestimate that small little thing of sending somebody a message to jumpstart their day. Because if I'm honest, we all don't jumpstart it how we supposed to. We talk to the Father first. No. It's okay, I'm with you too. Sometimes I be like, I'm late. I got to get myself together. But I make sure I send those messages out. And in a moment, I'm like, God, let them have a good day. God be with them. God give them peace. Let nothing that comes to them they can't handle. Because I don't want them either to underestimate their own strength. Oh, that was good. In the first couple of minutes, friends, that one got me messed up a little bit. Whew.
They need it.
Right on time. Tasha, who is Tasha?
Who? Oh, my goodness. You know what, Jen? Do you know that question could be so challenging to answer? Mm-hmm. Somebody asks you a question about anybody else, but when they come to you, you be like, what? Mm-hmm. Who am I? Mm-hmm. Well, let me be honest. First of all, I love people, period. I'm a social butterfly. Like in a room, I don't, in a bus. It could be on the bus, a stranger. I'm going to gravitate to you. So I love people. That's number one. Interpersonal relationships. I love building relationships. I love maintaining relationships. I'm a family girl. Let's see. I love to bake. I love to cook because I have a family. Those are my current hobbies. Of course, I love to write.
So hold on, wait a minute. You say you like to bake. Let me put that first on my list so I can follow back up with you later on.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Who's Tasha?
Yes. Let me see. I love to bake. I love to cook. Those are my current hobbies. I like to write. Kickboxing is something I want to get into. To cope with stress and some cardio. I do need some cardio. I'm a mom of 7, a wife for 20 years. I got 1 grandchild. Yes. I've been working in the mental health field for over 10 years, dealing with men, women, and children. And I am working on becoming a psychologist, trauma psychologist.
Very nice.
Oh, and of course, I'm an author.
You're an author. And that is our theme for this month, friends. I'm an author. So what made you want to be an author? I mean, you done gave a long resume. You wanted to add something else to it? How did that come about?
You know what? To be honest, it was nothing I planned. I've been writing since I was a very young kid. Writing has been my form of coping with life, like, difficulties. And poetry was my favorite genre. So I would write poetry, for self-expression and, just to relax. But the book came into play just because I thought about my life. And I said, this something has to be written about this. Somebody needs to know, where I've been through, what I came from, and how and why, and everything in between that. That's why I wrote the book. I mean, it really wasn't nothing that I planned on doing. It took me probably 10 plus years, Jen, to actually get this book going, because the motives originally behind it was anger. I was angry, resentful, and God ain't about that. He wants, when anything that God has his hands on, it's going to be, good intentions, it's going to be right motives. So yes. I struggled for many years to even get past a certain chapter and all this stuff. It is only when I allow God to really let me know what was the problem. Why couldn't I do it? And that was unforgiveness. That I was able to write it and flow with it. Not only was I able to flow with it, but God allowed me to not only see my pain, not only see my wounds, but He allowed me to see the wounds of others that was in the book. So He gave me compassion and empathy, which was unexpected. And I understood, that the book was not just about me. It was not just my story. It had many, many things connected to it. So then I'll be able to write it. So the motives behind it is important. The motives behind it.
The motive behind it. And that's big, because sometimes we talk about sometimes you want to do something and it's a good thing to do, but your motive behind it could get you in trouble. Yeah. It's some things that's not a sin, but why you want to do it can get you in trouble. Okay? And clean hands, pure heart. You got to be willing to do that in the right way. Yes. To help somebody and not to be like, oh, yeah, they about to fall. Why are we doing that? But you said you had some resentment. You were angry. What was it like going through those feelings to get to getting those words on the paper to then be words that help the reader instead of for them to feel that anger and resentment? Like, you watch a movie and you feel the feelings they feel, but you still walk away with a lesson learned. So how was that process of, okay, I can't be angry the whole book. I can't be resentful the whole book. I want them to get, purpose. Like, it's about this. This is what I want them to walk away with. But talk about more of that process of that frustration and how you got through, that valley.
All right, so the process of this was like this. And this was really a painful process. One of the persons I was very angry with was my mother. And 2020, she fell ill. Thought it was COVID, but it really wasn't COVID. Long process of finding out that she had a rare autoimmune disease. No cure, came out of nowhere. And again, I was very still angry at her because the issues were never dealt with. The past was never dealt with. It was never confronted. I could never comfortably talk about those things with her. It was shut down. And she was in the hospital. And you couldn't tell me that God was not going to do one of those miracles, signs and wonders and bring her out of that place. And she had a testimony. Mm-hmm. She ended up in intensive care. Mm-hmm. And I remember, mind you, I had lost the job probably months prior, lost the car. I mean, down this path, Jen, I had lost so much. I'm like, God, listen, come on. If I lose anything else, like, what the heck is going on?
Mm-hmm. Been near the store.
Yes. Like, I'm like, God, what are you trying to do to me? Like,
yes. What are you trying to do to me? I be angry too. Come on. Honesty, friend. You got to be honest with God.
Yeah. So I remember God was saying, you need to have a conversation with your mom. You need to forgive her. Mm-hmm. So I remember talking to her and I said, Mom, I was honest with her. I said, Mom, I was angry, very angry about the past. And she said, I knew you were, and I knew you're hurting a lot. And she said, I'm sorry. And I said, Mom, I forgive you. And she said, and I said, I love you. Well, Jen, I did not know that was going to be the last conversation I had with her. The very last conversation. And I realized, had I not had that conversation with her, then I would have been tormented by the enemy. Mm-hmm. I would have so much regret. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. After that conversation, I said, God, what is it? What do you need me to do, God? He said, I need you to forgive everybody. I need you to forgive them. And He made it clear to me that forgiveness was not a pass for allowing those people responsible for my pain to get away with it. Forgiveness was all about me. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness was all about my healing. Forgiveness was all about my life being able to move forward. Because if I didn't forgive, I was handicapped. I was very handicapped. The pain not only affected me emotionally, but it affected my mental health. Mm-hmm. Depression after depression. I'm talking about for over 20 years. Undiagnosed, untreated.
Yes.
Low self-esteem, inferiority. I mean, I was dealing with a lot of things, dealing with my past, and it was weighing me down. I mean, it was troublesome being a mom, a wife, those responsibilities, those relationships. Yes. But even me, like, My identity was only attached to what I've been through. That's all I could see. That's all I could see is my pain. And I felt so low about who I was. And although I survived it, I still was in a victim mindset. So I wasn't free of it. It's because I did not forgive. Did not forgive. And I did not invite God in to help me heal. You know, I kept going on with life, you know. But when God revealed to me, I knew that was the only way. I didn't want to live like that no more. I said, God, it's either you need to help me or I don't want to live at all. I honestly told God this, screaming in the shower, banging on the walls, crying, I don't want to live like this. Because basically I'm not living. I'm just existing. And I wanted to be free.
My Lord.
And not only did I want to be free, but I said, God, no, if you did this for me, if I've been through something, I know there's got to be somebody else who's in the same state that I was in. You know? I mean, Jen, I'm talking about, I was in a mental health hospital at one point. You know, I just felt like it was almost like I was having an out of body experience. I was here, but I really wasn't here. And I can honestly say, God is my healer. However, God used those natural things in the world, like a psychiatrist, a psychologist.
Yes,
I needed to take medication because I dealt with depression, and that's okay because mental health is real.
It is. You talking about love language right here. Mental health is real, and we don't address it so many times, or we're functioning, or we thinking it's a norm, and it's like it doesn't have to be.
So it was only when I got free to where I can really use my voice to speak the truth and really have empathy and compassion for those also responsible, because I realized they also have a story.
Yes. And we talked about that last week because I was sharing, like, you know, for those that want to write a book, you was like, well, such and such wrote a book, or this one wrote a book, or that one wrote a book. But it's something about your story. You know how many different versions it is of, let's say, Cinderella. It's something about the newer version that comes out, I was like, and you see something in a different light. The most recent version of Cinderella, I loved it because I was like, oh, you got to see it from his perspective. You got to see it from this person's perspective. It wasn't just Cinderella. You know, we know Cinderella's story. I love it. My favorite cartoon, my favorite story, because she always talked about have courage and be kind. And I talk about that another time, but that girl went through some stuff. She could have flipped out on some people, but she believed that greater could come. Nevertheless. But somebody thought to rewrite it again. And when you rewrote it, somebody else wrote it. Somebody who had never maybe seen the first 11 million, however many it is, versions, and saw this like, oh, I like this. It's like, oh, well, you got to see the original to know the real. However, it's a different version. It's a different walk and path that person has taken. And again, I'm a firm believer. I don't really want to learn on my own all the time. If you walked and fell over there, I'm going to be careful if I have to walk over there, or I'm going to go around.
Come on.
Just me. I don't want to keep on falling. Time is valuable, you know. But if I can hear from somebody else's story, and then if I could hear the story about going through with some depression, going through with some stuff that's out of your control in a little bit, but you can gain control of it.
Yes.
Oh, that's me. How can I do that? What do I need to do? Because we don't talk about a lot of things. You talk about issues not dealt with. Friends, we got a lot of issues that we're not dealing with. All right, you need an example? I got you. We don't always go to the doctor because we don't want to hear what they're going to say.
Come on.
Their scale broke. It's going to tell you a number you don't want to hear.
That's right.
It was tight, or it was whatever. But if it runs in the family, you want to know what's going on so you know how to attack. You know, it's always a game plan. If you don't know what's going on, you can't create a game plan to know what you got to do. You got to deal with these issues. We got to deal with these issues because we can't get to our purpose until we deal with these issues. I can't get to the dinner unless I cut it up and cook it and things of that sort. It's a process, and we always want to skip it. This is nice. Another part you said, what do I need to do, God? What do you need me to do? And when we get to a place, really going, God, you know, y'all know I love Jesus. That's who I talk about. That's who I love. If you want to know more about him, send me a message. We could talk about him some more. But what do you need me to do? Because there comes a time in life where some things are overwhelming. You're frustrated, irritated, agitated, aggravated. And when you finally say, okay, God, what What was it that you needed me to do? But the thing is, then listening, you said forgive. Like, whew, wait a minute, Lord. They did me dirty, God. I don't want to forgive them. Let me do it again. I'm going to tell y'all what Jesus told me one time when I was telling him about somebody I wasn't ready to forgive or a situation I was perturbed about. He said, but I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you I shut my mouth, it's forgiven. It's good. Good with me. Because we do stuff time and time again, time and time again, time and time again. I ain't gonna do no more, Lord. Just get me through this one last time. Oh,
Yeah.
God, don't let it be. I ain't gonna do it no more. And then we slip up because we're human, right?
That's right.
And that's what God wants us to know about the other people. They can do better. I'm not gonna say they can't do better, but that forgiveness, that peace be for us. It's about us. And had you not, it would have been a different conversation.
Period. We probably
We
wouldn't
might
be
not
having
have
a
got out that
conversation.
mental ward. It might have been something beyond that can handle. We don't know, because the mind, that playing field of the mind is something else,
Yes, it is.
Let's talk about this other part you said, though. I took some notes because I be paying attention. My identity was attached to what I've been through. Now, that a preacher, if you're a preacher and things like that, my identity was attached to what I've been through. Because sometimes we've been through some things and we think like that is the end all be all. It doesn't have to be. Why? Because it's greater that can come from that too.
Absolutely.
I was poor. I was homeless. That don't mean I will be for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
I got a job now. I got a couple coins. It may be paycheck to paycheck, but it's better than what it was. You know? And then as you continue to work it, continue to work it, continue to work it. Oh, a raise. Oh, continue to work it, continue to work it. Oh, a promotion. Continue to work it, continue to work it. Oh, a new role. Continue to work it. Continue to work it. Another stream comes along. Continue to work it, continue to work it. But we want to give up and not work it. Identity attached to what I've been through. And then the victim mindset. I mean, Tasha, you said so many great things. I was just over here because yes, we've been through some things, but if we don't believe that we can overcome,
that's the word. That's the word.
If we don't believe that we'll overcome, we'll stay in that mindset of like, no, I can't do it. I can't be no better. Our quote of the day was, "Don't underestimate yourself." But because we was a victim, somebody robbed us of our joy. Somebody robbed us of love. Somebody robbed us of peace. Somebody robbed us. We feel like we got to stay their friends. We don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay there. Tasha, what's the name of your book? Let's go there. What's the name of your book?
You don't know my story. The pain producing purpose.
The pain producing purpose. And I didn't put the pain part on there because I know that's like a cuss word.
Nobody wants to feel that.
No pain. They say no pain, no gain.
Come on.
But it's not until we go through some pain to know that we got to go somewhere different. It's not until we walk around that shoe and it's too small to know, oh, I got to gain a new pair.
Right.
And we get into some situations. So tell us a little about the story of how it's come about from pain to be able to produce this
purpose. All right now. Well, I'm gonna say a little bit about the story, Jam. I'm gonna say a little bit about
just a little bit because they might want to purchase it. We don't want to give them too many spoilers, but just to know we're like, you know what, I need to get that because I need to get that too so I can read it. All and then come back and tell y'all that y'all should get it because I'm not gonna tell y'all the story. That's what y'all thought I was gonna say. So I the synopsis.
All right. All right. So basically, it's about my childhood trauma. I experienced some trauma as a kid, and how the trauma, affected me as from a teenager on up to an adolescent and into adulthood. And how the trauma was silenced. Back in the day, people didn't allow you to discuss what went on in your household. They had secrets in the family, whatever. Not only did they have secrets, they expect you to just move past it and, they quote unquote time heals all wounds, but that's not a true statement. Time has nothing to do with healing at all. And in this process, I just started to break down because nothing was cared for. After going through so much in such a short period of time and nothing cared for, I started to break down. My mental health, my emotional health started to break down. And I realized that I had to be an advocate for myself and seek the help that I needed myself, as I got older. Not as an adolescent. I'm talking about a woman who was in her 40s, needed to seek the help now. And seeking the help, I realized that there was a purpose behind this. The purpose is that I know that I'm not the only woman or man, per se, person, who's been through a victimized trauma, who's been victimized
Yes.
in some way, and who is wounded from that pain. Who's carrying those wounds today, who struggle with living. Who maybe, we have coping skills. Some of us use drugs, some people use alcohol, some people use sex, some people use food.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are unhealthy to deal with those situations that
Mm-hmm.
are tormenting them. That they need help with knowing, first of all, figuring out the root cause of that addiction or that problem, whatever they're going through.
Yes.
And that's that trauma. So my purpose is Voice Ministries. It's called Voice Ministries, vocalizing our inner conversation externally.
Yes.
It is going to be a nonprofit that I formed,
Yes.
and it's going to help survivors of a trial, trauma, or tragedy recover from their experience, reclaim their identity, and rebuild their life. The power of their voice. And whatever resource, everything that God gives. I just want to take you from the mindset of a victim to survivor, from survivor to an overcomer.
Yes.
Because that's what I am. I've overcome those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my purpose, God gave me a purpose to help somebody else overcome them too.
Friends, y'all know I took some notes again, right? Because she was saying some things. She said another cuss word or another bad word, that trauma word. Because we don't believe trauma can happen. Or it's so much of a norm. It's so much of a norm, it's not considered traumatic. So, childhood trauma. That's what she's talking about, right, friends? So, childhood trauma, we know that can travel to adulthood if we ignore it, because we talk about ignoring issues, right, friends? Okay, keep on listening then. Okay, so childhood trauma can include an accident. It can include bullying. It can include a dysfunctional household. Everybody hollering all the time. Sometimes that's not what works for me, so all that hollering really triggers me, and I don't understand. But it's a norm because they do it all the time, so I feel like it's supposed to happen. But I hear somebody else do it, it like just gets me a little antsy and things to that sort. It could be a death of a loved one, emotional abuse, neglect, physical abuse. Financial abuse, because whatever it is, where they're not giving you no funds. And I know as a child, you gotta, but you know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm trying to go with the financial abuse. That could be for a child and in the family, they see it, or they see the parents doing it. It could be separation where the parents aren't together anymore. That could be traumatic for a child from being used to two people being there to now one person being there. But guess what, friends? It could also be traumatic when it's only one person there because they don't understand why the other person ain't there when they see other people with those two people. Let me talk about the two people again, because that's the mother and the father. Because sometimes that grandmom and all the other things, it's a blessing. We're grateful for everybody coming in, but how the family was originally created, God bless, friends. But these are things that can impact our lives and our responses to others, can mess up our friendships with others because they don't understand. But it's our trauma, our baggage, our packages that can go on with us if we don't address them.
Very well put.
But to be able to go from victim to survivor, so overcomer, we got to get out of that cycle. Jonathan Reynolds wrote this song, Cycle. Because cycles are real. Because if it happened in your childhood, if we don't address it, if we don't identify it, we have children. Cycle. They go
generational trauma. Come on, Jen.
What happens is, Tasha, you was going through that. You had how many children?
7.
Where they live at?
Yeah.
Oh, so they saw you, right?
Period. Yes, Jen.
And that's what happens, friends. Sometimes, they see it. I was talking to somebody and they were like, my daughter, she's just doing this. And I'm like, well, who's she's around? Nobody. I keep her good. Yada, who? I said, well, do you have friends come over? Do they have kids? Well, yeah, she went home with them kids. Ding, 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 ding. Those kids came over and brought some stuff into your house that you wasn't doing. So that can happen too, where it maybe not happening in your house, but it's some things that's happening in our house, to be honest, because we learn what happens in our house stays in our house, but then somebody else's house come over and mix with our house. We got a lot of stuff going on.
True.
And people are wondering what's going on with these kids. What is going on? And if we don't address it, if we don't have these conversations with our children to know, wait a minute, I was upset, I fussed, I cussed, I did this, I did that. But this is what's going on because we have to know how to address our feelings. We have to be able to identify the feelings. I have a friend, she does feeling Fridays, and she'll do another feeling because we so good to say, "How you doing? Good." I'm like, "That's not a feeling." They be mad at me. It's not a feeling. Give me another one. And then if you give me one, I'm sad. What does that look like? How can I support you to not be sad? I'm happy. What does that look like? Because sometimes we saying we happy, and we just saying that because we don't want to really say what's going on. I went to an event and we was doing 2 truths and a lie. And I don't remember what it was, but one of the things she said was, "I'm happy." And I was like in my head, "God, she is speaking that into existence." That one is not the lie.
Wow.
Guess what? That one was the lie. But we're not honest enough to be able to share these things that's going on because we think that they're going to think things about us, say stuff about us. But guess what? A drowning person, I never forget my parents say this. I take it to the bank all the time. A drowning person don't care who save them. They want to be saved.
Period.
So we can't worry about, "Oh, no, I don't want them to know I'm drowning. Oh, no, I don't want them to know I'm failing." Well, find somebody, sunshine. Find somebody. Reach out and touch somebody's hand that can help you so that you don't have to be this victim, so that you can be a survivor and that you can be in this cycle of overcoming.
Glory.
Because it's better than this. It's greater than this. Because we're trying to produce purpose from the pain, not more pain from the pain.
Come on.
And to get purpose, we have to identify it. See, you done started some, Tasha. I tell you, she over here just going, because if we don't identify, we're going to stay in the pain situation. And pain is not fun. As a kid growing up, I was not a fan of needles. As an adult, I'm still not a fan of needles. They got to joke me up, distract me, and all that other fun jazz. Mind your business. Y'all got something else, but, I'm not always a fan of them. I don't want you poking me. I don't want that pain,
right.
However, it's some needles I have to get because there's a gain with it. It's some pain I had to go through because there's a gain from it. It's like, well, why did I have to go through the accidents? Why did I have to go through the bullying? Why did I have to go through the physical abuse? Why did I have to go through the sexual abuse? Why did I have to go through the emotional abuse? I don't know, but his thoughts are not my thoughts. His ways are not my ways. And when you go through it and when you get through it, you can come on to Jen Cares like sis Tasha is.
Come on.
My pain produced my purpose. Tasha, it's not, I don't know how we at these places, but we're going to keep on going these places because I'm encouraged. I'm inspired, friends. I hope you know that the pain you've been through, you don't have to stay in. You too can produce purpose by encouraging somebody else. So, baby, I've been there. This is how you can get out.
That's right.
And if this doesn't work for you, let me connect you with somebody else that's been through and tell you how you can get out too. I had some friends and we got some similarities. Some similarities I like, some similarities I don't like. And they not even the bad ones. It's just like some life situations that's happened that's all affected all of us. They were like, well, this is what works for me, or I know what works for me, so let me also do that for them because that might be of support. But again, you got to be able to address it.
Right.
How many more books you plan on writing? Is this just the first one?
Well, yes. This is my first.
All I got was a snippet of this one, and this is what I got, friends. So I feel like I need to read it. You maybe want to read it too.
This is my first one. This is my first one I published, and it had to be the first one because the next one is going to talk about the journey after this. You want to after this to get somebody to say that there is an after this. Like
there is an after this. She about to get back on her box again, friends. Y'all I told y'all about y'all seatbelts. We on a ride tonight, okay? In this ride, you ain't gonna fall off. I got you covered, okay? Yeah. We got secure, clink, okay? Because after we get to the pain producing purpose, it's like, where do I go from here? I identified it, I addressed it, I did the pieces I need to do. So I have a purpose. What am I doing next? Right. Because there is an after this.
Yes. There is an after this.
The pain happened, but there's an after this. I survived it. I made it through. I can help somebody else.
Right. And that's you know what? That's just the purpose by itself. If you survive something, God put you through something, it's not just because of course he wants a testimony. Yes. But it's for you to reach back and find somebody else to help them survive it. Yes. Could you imagine if we would all keep reaching back after you overcome something, we will all be okay. But people just walk away or, they just take their own victory and keep it moving. No.
You can't help somebody else.
Yes.
sometimes I want to tell my business, sometimes I don't want to tell my business. So, right, what happened was I had a situation where my heater had went out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I won't say how long it was out because I was just surviving. I did what I had to do, right? Well, got it fixed. And I was talking to somebody, and they were like hesitant and sharing, but I figured something was going on. And I was sharing with them how God made a way for me to get what I needed to get done. And she said, I'm going through the same thing. She started now sharing because she heard my story and how God worked it out for me. And she was like, I just needed X, Y, and Z more things of that sort. God had blessed me to be able to be a blessing to somebody else. Not just in my testimony. Sometimes it's something else that you might get some green, you might get some more words, you might be there by time, things of that sort. But God allowed me to also be a blessing financially to her, to help her to be able to get her situation together. See, my situation was different. Not that it excuses me or excludes me and things of that sort, because sometimes my friends do listen, sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, and this would be the time that they do listen.
Right.
Not that it excludes me or gives me permission with my foolishness or what I did. Yes, I did it. I survived. I made it through, and we're in after this. Okay,
Right.
but I'm by myself. I'm telling a story. Somebody lives here with me. Don't.
Okay. Right.
Cleo, and she gonna get you. You watch out. However, she had kids, so that was a different situation. So it was an urgency a little bit more for her than it was for me,
Right.
But that's what it is too. Sometimes there's an urgency to be able to help somebody, meaning it's an urgency sometimes to tell your story, because the random person that you come along and they going through, and you just get to talking after. I was like, I needed to hear that today. Somebody tuned in tonight. I needed to hear that today, because if he worked it out for her, got her from pain to purpose, into her after this, and she gonna tell us more about that one day, he could do it for me too, because I've been through some things. I'm going through some things, and we talk about childhood trauma, but guess what? It's some teenage trauma. If you don't want to consider that childhood, adulthood trauma that's happening, and the different people, places, and things that we come around and across causes some trauma. But it's not until we address it and be able to stand up for ourselves and get the help that we need to be able to make it to our purpose. Oh, this is. What was the hardest chapter of your book to write? What's the title of that chapter? Did you title your chapters? What was the hardest
I
part?
did.
Yes.
The hardest chapter was to write was the boogeyman, and that was
Say that
basically
again?
the boogeyman. This is called the book. It's called the boogeyman.
Friends, she's trying to keep me stirred up. All right, tell me about the boogeyman.
The boogeyman was basically the one who was responsible for a lot of my trauma. And that was the hardest chapter to write because it brought up all those memories. And I literally asked the Holy Spirit, I said, Holy Spirit, I need you to let me recall this. I need you to actually let me experience it as I did when I was there. Because I want my reader to feel what I feel. I want my reader to see what I see. I want my reader to be in that moment with me. And that was a difficult chapter. I cried, but it wasn't a sense of, my weeping wasn't a sense of so much of pain.
Mm-hmm.
I think as I wrote, I became free, more free as I wrote. And I can talk about it joyfully. There's no sadness in me anymore. I'm free.
So when I do my lives, I always post that it's not for children. So if your child is watching, please, I'm turning the other way, because we have some fictional characters sometimes that we portray the children and tell them that they're real. We're gonna talk about one tonight called the Boogeyman. Because as a kid, they used to say the Boogeyman gonna get you if you don't listen. Oh, the Boogeyman. Then you feel like, oh, the Boogeyman under my bed. Or you hear something, oh, that's the Boogeyman, right? But until you realize that the Boogeyman is really a figment of imagination, it's just trying to scare you. The shadow is trying to scare you, but the person that is the shadow, that stands up the shadow, is going to take care of everything that needs to be taken. That's the real person, And sometimes that boogeyman causes us to be fearful. The movie, it's like, wait, they gonna get us. But if we know the boogeyman ain't really real, but it takes us the process to get through, those tears that you went through. It was like, wait, I didn't have to worry about that, or I did go through that, but it helped me. What? Right. It wasn't as big as I thought it was. But in a moment, it felt huge. I ain't gonna hold you. Sometimes we've been through some things like, am I ever gonna get out of this? Like you said, one thing after the next, one thing after the next, one thing after the next. Oh, but God gives us friend. One more. Tell me your favorite chapter. What was your favorite chapter?
The favorite chapter was the last chapter, forgiveness. Because you know what? I never thought I would arrive at that place. I never thought I would arrive at that place. I really thought that I would die in the condition that I was in. So the
I
favorite
thought
chapter,
that I would die in a condition.
yes. So the favorite chapter was forgiveness because I was able to literally tell the reader how I came about forgiving each and every person that was responsible. And it felt good. I was able to share about God, and that was my favorite chapter. Because, and for the fact that if you read the book, you would know that there had to be a God for me to forgive. Okay?
I'm still caught up on. I thought that I would die in the position I was in.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, friends, we have been there.
Some
We
of us
might
are
be
there.
there. It may be some things that we are dreaming of that we want to happen that's not going to happen, and we feel like we just going to die in the position we in. But if I'm grateful and content where I am, because I know that I know who holds tomorrow, who holds my future, and who holds my hand. If I'm content in that, no matter what comes, no matter what goes, I'm okay. So if I die and I see Jesus, it was not in vain. But between that time, until I get to that time, I ain't ready, Lord. Between that time, work in the middle, forgiving. And that's the hardest, I don't want to say the hardest, but it's one of the hardest things. Because people do us bad. And we don't understand. We're like, forget them. Yeah. I already told you how God got me, so I don't do too bad with forgiveness anymore because it'll be like, did not, you're right. You're right, God, you forgave me. But everybody ain't there yet. I'm just saying what he told me. And if he didn't tell you that, rock out. He might tell you that after. I mean, you might take that and run with it because, But some people won't be special.
Yeah, because you wish you could pick and choose. You wish you could pick and choose who you can forgive,
Wish I could pick and choose who I can forgive. I mean, so now let's talk about this too, because you forgive them, but you also learn to not be used. You speak up for yourself. Like you forgive them, like, Tasha, I forgive you, blah, 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 blah. Now be careful, Tasha, because I know if she messed me up on this, she might do it again. That's not really forgiveness. We gotta hope that they heard the forgiveness, the apology, and hope that they do change. But guess what? Sometimes they don't change. And if they don't change, you can't get your panties in a bunch, as one of the sayings. Am I showing my age? It's totally all right. Because sometimes they do change, sometimes they don't change. But you forgave them for you. You forgave them for you, but you got to let it go. They might do it to somebody else. They ain't your problem.
And this forgiveness does not mean you have to have this relationship with them and sense, No.
Forgiveness does not mean that. But depending on who the person is, sometimes you do have a relationship. Can I be honest? Because sometimes it's family and friends in them, and
that's true.
I'd be like, no, you can't let them go yet. I'd be like, what? I gotta still do this. What?
Grace, that's true.
This is the thing. Antoinette, forgiveness does not mean to trust again, but it also doesn't mean that trust can't be rebuilt. It also doesn't mean the trust can't be rebuilt, but you got to be open to that, and that's the process too. That pain can one day produce purpose, and then you get to as mom that said, "Hey, mama, want the journey after this." When you get on the other side of that. But it's a process. But you also got to be honest with you to know how far, how willing you are to be in some situations. How long do you want to be in some situations of pain? How long do you want to be in pain? When do we want to get to that purpose? What was the purpose of the pain? The purpose of that needle, yeah, I'm still, bothered by it, was to help me for whatever it was doing. You had to go and get the what's the other ones you gotta get for work?
You talking about the shots, the vaccine,
the TB,
hepatitis, and all that?
Yeah. The little 3 dots. I'm like, you want to be 3 at one time? It was just one. Like, what's going on? But the purpose was to make sure I was okay.
Preventative measures.
Preventative measures. And sometimes the pain is preventative measures. Because God wants to show you that He is strong, that He is mighty, that He still sits on the throne, and He got you.
And think about Jesus. He suffered and went through pain, not for himself, but for us. So sometimes our pain is not even for us.
Not even. Let's talk about that. I don't have a box of tissues to be dramatic. I am so sad right now. But when the pain is not for you, it's some things I have been through. And I was like, whew. Wow. Obviously, I was built enough to, be able to survive, because there's some things I've been through that some people have not survived.
Right.
Some things, friends, you've been through that others have not survived, right? So then you get through some things, and then you meet somebody, and you just get to talking and sharing, and it was like, I needed to hear that. Oh, that helped me. Or I'm going through the same thing. Like, God, I went through I didn't meet her till 20 years later, God. But that thing that matured, I done really learned the lessons from it. I done pulled all the things I was supposed to get from it to now encourage you. Lord. But that's it, It's for somebody else. How did we get to the purpose? What was the purpose of your pain? What you said forgiveness was the end, and that was the most amazing part of the book and things of that sort. And what do you feel was the purpose that you wanted people a piece of, what you wanted them to walk away, because they got to buy the book and read it?
Well, the purpose of the book, first of all, is that when you're going, whatever you're going through, if you're going through a traumatic experience, whether you're being a victim or something, that you don't be silenced. You don't allow anybody to silence you, because your voice is important. You have to advocate for yourself. Seek the necessary help you need so you can heal properly. Sometimes people silence you to protect yourself. There's a lot of families who have secrets to put on this facade or this, phony appearance to make themselves look okay. But at the end of the day, they're broken. And broken people are out here, Jen. We have a lot of broken people out here who's doing some things out here because they're broken. So one of us, so you won't be silenced. Two, so you can advocate for yourself. And to know that it's okay that you don't feel well. To know that it's okay that you're not, doing well because of what you experience. Mental health, like we said, is real. So to get help with those things. And important to know that if you really want to be free, you're going to have to forgive. You're going to have to really be intentional about wanting to let it go. Because at the end of the day, if you don't let it go from your life, it will take your life. It can. It doesn't affect just your mental, emotional, it affects your physical health. It causes sickness to be inside of you. Because it weighs you down.
You're having a tantrum. You know how people do, because I don't want to hear that go.
Yeah, of course, we don't want to hear it, but you know what? God is really just amazing how He reveals stuff to you.
Yes.
Like we hear God's word and He says to do this and do that. And He sounds like a father again, telling their kids what to do.
Yes.
However, we think God is just ordering us around to do something, but those things are for our protection. Those things for us to be healthy. You understand? Because He knows that the enemy's intent is to kill, steal, and destroy us. So unforgiveness will kill, steal, and destroy you. It will eat you alive.
Eat you alive.
Serious. It will. Could you imagine having headaches? Sleepless nights.
Come on.
Those medical conditions are severe. Like I've even read that how unresolved trauma causes autoimmune diseases. Like a lot of things that they come out of nowhere, they surface from somewhere. There is a root to everything.
Yes, roots to everything.
Everything. So,
even weeds have roots. What? They came from somewhere. We got to address the roots to get rid of the weeds.
Right. So don't hide in it. Don't hide it, because to be honest, you're not hiding. Somewhere or another, it's coming out, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in your health. Somewhere it's being exposed.
Yes.
But you need to do it on purpose. You need to expose it. You need to seek the help. Forget about others' opinions. Because, Jen, to be honest, I was worried about others' opinions. I'm like, you know what, God? Listen. I can't worry about nobody's opinion of me, because at the end of the day, they wasn't with me. They wasn't with me during, they wasn't with me after, and most of them ain't with me now. And it's okay. I know that I have a purpose in this. And you brought me through this, so you want to use it for something. And that's all that matters. And I'm on the journey to living, not existing,
Living.
living.
Whew. You know, that silence piece. People get quiet because they don't want others to know. But you speaking up can save others. I was watching a show, and the girl had went out with this guy, and he was like, "Come on, you know, I'll drink a little bit." He didn't drink, but he wanted her to drink. So we all know where that was going, right?
Yeah.
And he was then like guiding her away from the party and things of that sort, and trying to force her into a situation she didn't want to be in. A friend came along and saw helped the situation, right? However, later on in the show, the guy came up to the girl and she's like immediately thinking of that experience, traumatic experience we're talking about, right? It really messes you up. You can't function. You feel like all guys might be like that and things of that sort. And a girl observed it from the sidelines. And she said, "How far did it get with you?" Now, had she spoke up to say what the guy did, he might not have done it again. Silence can sometimes cause somebody else to get in the same situation. But if we speak up, it could save somebody's life. But it could also help yourself. We got to be careful with the silence, friends. Because some people getting away with some things that they should not be getting away with.
Right.
And if you feel like you don't know who you can call and tell on, I know how to tell my father because he say vengeance is mine.
Awesome.
And he know how to get people back a little bit better. A whole lot better, rather. Than
Yeah.
But we got to be able to speak up on some things. And so many times we're dealing with some things in silence. There was a thought one time to write a book called Suffering in Silence. We'll see if it happens. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. Don't ask me no questions about it because I don't know. God bless, right? Because it's a lot of things that I'll go through. And I feel like I don't got to tell nobody. But we don't have to do things alone. It's why I got into social work. It's why I got into therapy. Why? Because we need somebody else. We got to check it with somebody else. And the pieces of it that I did write, again, mind your business. I don't know. I love y'all, but I don't know. It takes work to do these things. How when I spoke up, the support that I got. And how when I spoke to God, how he came to my rescue. If something was needed, somebody would come along and give you something. You know? How he never let me go without, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I have no wants. I got everything that I need. That's what the words say. And if he doesn't lie, his word got to come to pass, right? But I got to be able to speak up. But God is so amazing because sometimes even when we don't speak up, he still comes through. But how amazing is it when we do speak up? Like, God, I didn't like that. It didn't go how I wanted it to go. Friend, I didn't like how you said that to me. Because a lot of times if we don't say what's going on, they think that what they're doing is totally fine. But when you speak up, either something changes,
right,
or you now have to change your route because you know that you're going to try to keep on giving me pain and I'm trying to produce purpose because there is something after this. That's my story now. You know, I took it, Tasha. That's my story.
All right, Jen. You got it.
But that's it. You know, we don't always do that. And it's so important. And like from this book, like who years ago, you probably didn't even think that you would write a story that tells all your business like you told it in this book. But that breaking that silence is breaking a cycle and let somebody else know, hey, I've been through that. I can get through too. Letting your children know, like, no, I'm in the after this now. They seeing the after this, but they saw a lot of the pain. They saw a lot of that struggle. They saw, but they also saw how you got through. And a lot of times we post stuff on social media, be funny, and then something don't work out. I'm like, wait, I want to know. You got to tell me more information now, you know? But you want to see the other side of it. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But the thing is, when you find out that somebody made it through, you can make it through too. And it doesn't hurt to ask, like, hey, I'm going through something similar. Or I'm going through something that's totally different. But some of the things you did might still help me. And again, you got to be able to have those conversations. It's an author, artist, I think her, and she has a song, I'm not okay, 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 I'm not okay. And guess what? It's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
Stay there.
Yes.
Acknowledge when we not okay.
Yes.
God go to me, and I was like, God, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. One, I'm tired. I need to get some rest because I don't always do that right. Dang, I'm telling myself, friends, mind your business.
Come on.
Okay today, you know? But I didn't want to be there, right? It wasn't, and then it wasn't going as smooth as I thought it would go and things like that. But guess what? Life happens. But I had to be honest with myself. And guess what? With me being honest with myself, I then responded to people with more intention because I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be offensive. I already knew I was off because we're not doing our game all the time. Let's be honest. It's sometimes where we want to give some people the birds, cut some people off, whatever it is, just didn't get mine. Those just two things that came to my mind. Let some people really have it. I know how to let people have it without giving them the French words, but sometimes I want to add a French word because I got to let them know I mean what I'm saying, But if I'm aware that I'm not okay, I'm more conscious to not mess with somebody else. Because if I'm having a bad day and I'm not aware and I'm just having a bad day, I can mess somebody else up and then they having a bad day and they don't even know why they having a bad day because I rubbed off on them. Right. Talking about that silence, talking about that trauma, we have to be aware. We got to pay attention, friends.
Right, self-awareness is very important.
All in that mental health, because mental health is real. Because now you go, they be like, she bipolar. She this, she cray. And, we know how to diagnose way better than a doctor because we'll just say what it is. We know if it's a couple of cans short, we get that. But the key is that person that is a couple cans short, because we've all been there too, has to acknowledge it to know what support they need so that they can grab some more cans or figure out how to balance that unbalance to then be present to get to that purpose. Oh, who's your favorite author?
Dr. Maya Angelou, honey. I love me some Maya.
Yes. Auntie Maya,
amazing, yes.
Auntie. A friend was talking about, she wanted to do a book club. I was like, I don't need to buy one more book. I need to read the books that's on the shelves and things of that sort. But there's some books, friends, that we have on our shelves that could really help us in some situations that we're in right now. We get these stories or we hear the stories of the author. It's like, oh, that would be good. And we buy it. And it gets dust. I challenge you to pull out one of those books.
Yes.
And let it really minister you. And it's times that I read a book and I read enough of what I needed. Then I went back to it and it was right on time for me. Then I left off again. Then I went back to it. That's why it takes me so long sometimes. And then other stuff that's happening in life take me another time. But the books, if you allow God to lead you, I promise he'll give you the one that you need for the season of life that you're in. Because I have so many. But when I do pull one, I'm like, oh, this was right on time. I needed this one. Or I needed the encouragement of this one. I needed the story of this one. I needed the wisdom of this one. So I encourage you, friends, to pull out a book, because they can help you out. You should probably get Tasha's too. How can somebody get your book?
Well, it is on Amazon.
Okay. Amazon.com.
Yes, it's on Amazon. It is also on my website, voice-ministries.com. You can get it from
there. Yes. Let me see.
Or you can just hit me up on my Facebook page and I'll drop a copy to you.
Yes. So I did tag her. If you're a friend of mine on social media, you'll be able to see her. But if you're on Instagram as well, I did tag her as well. So y'all be sure to support, because this book sounds like it's real good. I'm already ready for part 2. Are you ready to working on part 2?
I am.
Good job. Now let us all pray, friends, that it's not going to take as long, because the first one always take the longest because you battling some things of that sort. But this one's going to come swiftly, right?
Yes, it is.
We also gotta push it and encourage. That's what we do over here at Care. So we want to make sure you get that out there, because people be like reading it. You ever watch the movie? It's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a part 2. When is it coming out?
And so many people ask me that. I know it's a part 2. I want it.
So friends, y'all be sure to hit up Tasha to get her book talking about pain from pain. Say it again. I won't say it wrong.
You don't know my story. The pain producing purpose.
You don't know my story. Let me go back to that for a second before I get to the pain producing purpose, because so many times people think they know your story and they don't know.
Not at all.
But when you share and you let people know, you're like, oh, you don't look like what you've been through. I know
Come on.
But the grace of God. And if he can do it for me, guess what? He can do it for you. How did you come up with that title?
God, let me tell you, I was, listening to my worship music, and it's a song by John B. Key, Life and Favor. And
yes.
It goes, you don't know my story. Yeah. And I'm like,
she's a singer too, friends. I'm going to get her, book her today.
The Lord said, that's it. And I say, come on now, God, come on. And that was it. You don't know. And that song, as a matter of fact, that was my theme song to my book launch.
Yes.
Yes.
And friends, that's big too, because sometimes you feel like you're meant to write a book and you was like, well, what's going to be the title? You'd be surprised. I wanted to start Chosen Counselors, and they was like, start the business. I was like, all right, but what's it going to be called? What's it going to be called? I'm like really thinking, like trying to figure it out. Randomly, I had wrote on it was like stickers, the sticker letters. Show my age again. People don't do this. Okay. So I had did it was like a tray, and I made it like a vision tray, a vision board. It was a tray though. So I put the stickers on it and I was writing stuff. I put some different things on it. It's funny. Some of the things that come to my mind, I'm not gonna tell y'all because y'all gonna be like, well, when you doing that? But I wrote Chosen Counselors. It was chosen with a Z. And I was like, what am I gonna name? What am I gonna name it? And I looked over and saw the tray. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the name. So I'm saying it, friends, because sometimes you already got the name. You just got to put the pages together.
Right.
Put the pages together. And you'll be amazed at how it blesses so many other people by you telling your story, whether it's poems, whether it's a book, whatever it is. Because people have different ways of learning. So like some people can listen to Tasha and be great and heard the story and say, I'm good. But some people do like to read it. Why? Because it ain't nothing like getting cozy with a nice book, a little cup of hot cocoa, a cup of tea, or whatever it is you like. I don't like coffee. If you like it, rock out. But you get the book and you get to read, and you're like, oh, that's good. Then it's a page turner. Hope you don't gotta go to work that next day because you're gonna be messed up. But guess what? That's a good book too, where you can't put it down. But please put it down. Don't say it. Jen encourage you to stay up, and that's why you were late. I can use that excuse too. I'm teasing. But friends, it's nothing like having a good book. And it's funny because going to church, they be like, if you got a paperback book or you got your Bible on your phone and things of that sort. I still like the hand Bible. I do like the digital one because you get to it fast and things of that sort. You can highlight and things of that sort. But I still do like my paper one. And I think I just be lazy sometimes because I done ripped so many of them or they have got so many, but that's only because good use. But it's nothing like a good book. So friends, be sure to connect to get this book because you don't know my story. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm still caught up on it. I thought that I would have died in the position I was in.
Yeah.
Whew.
Facts.
To aspiring authors, what's your words of wisdom?
Listen, first of all, don't compare yourself to nobody else. At the end of the day, you got to write your truth. Don't be picking up another book saying, I'm going to write like this. We all have a different language. We all have a different style. Stick to what God gave you. Yes. Because at the end of the day, you're going to connect with the audience that God wants you to connect with. Yes. Your story is going to reach those who was created to reach. Be true to you. Yes. And trust the process. Don't think you're going to write your novel in one night because it ain't happening. You're going to have some frustrated nights. Yeah. You're going to have some writer's block. When that happens, step away from it. Do something else that's not related to the book. And when you're out, always keep a pen in the pad because God might just have you drop something about the book. You write it down, save it for later. Again, trust the process and be true to you because your story has its unique voice. That's it.
That's it, friends. Be true to you because your book, you may be inspired to do something that you have never seen in another book. Do that. It's going to cause you to stand out, friend. I'm like, oh, I ain't never seen that before. I need that. Stand out. Do what is on your heart to do. You might have where the pages, the words upside down. We'll turn it around. We'll figure it out. And, oh, that's a good idea, too. Upside down. Why? Because it's taking you out the norm. And sometimes life takes you out the norm. That's good. Okay. I like it. That was a good idea. Y'all can have it. If y'all do it, let me know. I support you. If y'all do your book upside down, okay? You let me know about it. Let me know. Okay. So that was our words of encouragement to our aspiring authors. You also share like the biggest piece that you want to take from the book was death forgiveness. Friends, if there is anybody in your life that you need to forgive, you already know the rest. I'm not even going to go there. Y'all heard it. Forgiveness is so important. It's not just for the other person. It's mostly for you. So that you can be able to go forth and do the things that you are purposed to do. Tasha, is there anything else you want us to walk away with on tonight? This was so good.
Let me see. Anything else? No, I just to, care for yourself. It's really important that you care for your whole self, because even one part of you that's not cared for makes everything out of whack
Yes.
at the end of the day. And no shame, like, we all go through something, and it may not be the same as somebody else, but it doesn't mean that it's less than or it's not important. Be your number one advocate.
Yes.
Even if you're, not at an age where you can, officially take care of yourself. But if you have somebody that you can trust with something that has happened to you, because
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with you, something has happened to you to
Yes.
cause you to be in the state that you are, seek the help, because somebody's listening, somebody's watching, and somebody definitely cares. You
Yes.
are important, and there is an after this connected to your story.
Yes. Somebody actually cares. Shameless plug. Jen cares. Hi. I crack my own self up. But that's it, being sure that you're taking care of yourself. That mental health piece, we're not gonna let that slide. I gotta bring a therapist back on. It's been a while since we talked therapy talking. I really get in my element then. Because it's so important that we address our mental health. It's so important in our minds, the way that we're thinking, the way that we're responding. I was talking to someone, and we were talking about how a situation happened and got the person riled up.
Mhm.
And though that person might not have been in their right mind, I want to talk about, a different aspect of the person that got riled up, right? Because if I had been containing myself with great composure, I've been handling situations the best way I know how. When somebody came and pushed that button and I thought I was doing good and then I went off, it's not even so much about that person. It's about all the other stuff I was going on for or holding in that's going to cause you to really get a can of, yep.
Yeah.
And then you respond and you're like, what's going on? It was a lot. I was at overload. But if we talk about it little by little, little by little, little by little, we let it out. It's like we too stuffed up. We gotta let some of that air out. Because if not, we're gonna pop and the people are not gonna be ready. So friends, 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 please, please, please. Forgive who you need to forgive. It's for you. Because sometimes when we don't forgive, when we see them doing great, being great, we're like, they get on my nerves. Nobody told them post all that on social media. We going off. And they ain't caring two pits about
That's
us.
just not a thing.
But if you let it go, be like, you know what? God bless. Because when you let go of that, let it move out the way, something else can now come in. Because if I'm holding it up or I'm too messed up in it, I can't receive something else. Why? Because I'm not open. I'm still tied up, tangled up, loosed up in that. But if I let it go, I can be open to something new that's trying to come my way. This was so, so good. Friends, 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 please do connect with Tasha to get a copy of her
Yeah.
book. It's amazing. I'm excited. I'm going to be reaching out so I can get a copy. I also want to say thank you so much. Because, this was like a little sneak in and it came in and was amazing. Girl, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the doors that are yet to open up for you. May you continue to encourage and inspire others about the purpose that they have. And even talk about that after this. May your children continue to be excited and proud of their mama addressing some issues because it helps them too to address some issues as they come along for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so grateful to be on the show and grateful to reach somebody. I hope this has reached somebody and make a difference in your life as well.
Yes, thank you so much again, Tasha. May you have a great evening.
You too, Jen.
Yes. Oh, friends, that was amazing. We had the amazing Tasha Hands. Yo, friends. Whew, I'm overwhelmed with joy. I mean, I got so many nuggets of wisdom. Did you get some nuggets? Was it good for you? That was pretty good. Don't forget our quote of the day. Never underestimate your own strength. You were born for a purpose and are blessed with the power to achieve it. Leon Brown. Friends, don't estimate your own strength. One of my favorite songs, motivation songs, is I have a lot of favorite songs, but one song I love is "What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger." Stand a little taller. I'm gonna mess up the words because I'm trying to share right now, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And guess what? I made it through that. I'm stronger. I can now fight against it if it tries to come my way again. Why? Because this is only temporary. It will not last much longer than this. Friends, I want to also share we have the meetup coming up, and the meetup is an event for purpose-minded people that provide support and accountability. We are having our first event on Saturday, August 27th. I am so excited. Let me tell you about the favorite guide. The restaurant I wanted to go to, I went and met with the manager, the owner, and things of that sort. He was like, I really only do parties of this size. I was like, he was telling me the situation. I was like, that's totally all right. He said, okay, I'll let you go. So he let me bump it up. So if you want to go, send me a message. I'll be sure to get you in there. It is a small group, a limited group, but it's going to be amazing and impactful. For the first time, the Meetup Squad is getting together. Why? Because I want to hold us accountable. Y'all will help me stay accountable myself. I done talked about some stuff I told y'all not to remind me of, but guess what? I need somebody to remind me of that too, because there's some things that I got to do. I can't keep pushing it to the side. As shared last week, I also got a book coming out. Woo! Chosen for this planner and journal. I am so excited about this. I met with the board this weekend, and we reviewed it and edited and things of that sort. They made me cut some pages, but it's for the greater good. I had some pain in it, but the purpose was that I could really make sure I get it to you, because we can't be doing too many great things. We got to make sure that it's getting the pieces that you need. So I am really excited for that. So y'all stay tuned. I do hope that y'all support that effort. It's a Chosen for This journal, planner and journal. Why? Because you were chosen for this. Whatever it is that you are working to do, whatever it is you are aspiring to be, you were chosen for this. And then it's a period. Why? Because that's the end of it. You were chosen. It's going to work out. It's going to be amazing. Be sure to join us next week, as we will have Jay Hall for Design to Be Me. I am so excited to share his story. I'm not even going to tell y'all about it. I'm going to let y'all come back and find out about it. I do love y'all for real. Be sure to join us next week. This has been amazing. I hope that you walked away with something amazing. Guess what? You don't have to die in the position you are in. The potter wants to push you back together again. That's on the skin of my mind. Friends, the potter wants to push you back together again. So please join us next week. You don't have to stay in the state that you're in. Because sometimes we want to give up. Sometimes we want to throw in the towel. I've been there. I told y'all, losing 2 people in 2 weeks, I was like, maybe I don't need to do this no more. But I didn't have to stay in that state. God allowed another opportunity to be able to bring somebody amazing to talk to us about producing purpose. Those sad times, those cancellations, those people walking away, all produce purpose to let us know, hey, this too shall pass. And even with them walking away, I'm still standing. I'm still strong. What movie they come from? Derek Luke. That's my movie. Now I can't think of the movie. I'm still standing. I'm Antoine Fisher. I'm still standing. I'm still strong, because he been through some stuff. That's my movie. He been through some stuff, but he survived. And guess what? You don't have to stay in the state that you're in. The potter wants. The potter is Jesus. He wants to put you back together again. Y'all going to have a good evening. I love you all for real. Thank you so much to Tasha Hanson and to each and every one of you for tuning in. Until next time, I love you. Good night.
Friends, we thank you for joining Jen Cares this week. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Unable to watch us live? Be sure to find us on your favorite podcast platform. You can also visit our website, chosencounselors.com. That's chosen with a Z, so that you can stay in the know and, most of all, never miss a show. If you found value in this episode, we'd appreciate you sharing it with a friend. Most of all, be sure to tune in for our next episode next Monday at 8 p.m. right here, as we specialize in bringing the community to you.